This news is no less than a big shock for the fans of Gold Rush. Everyone is talking about Chris Doumitt leaving the show, and people are making their own theories. Some say that Parker Schnabel put so much pressure on Chris that he finally broke down. But the truth is much deeper and shocking than this. The real reason is something that the show's network will never air. Chris has always been Parker's most trusted partner and a fun member of the team. No matter how difficult the situation was, he always stood by Parker. But his sudden absence in this season surprised everyone. Parker did not say a single word about this, and Chris also kept complete silence. This silence has become the biggest mystery, which has forced the fans to think more. Some people believe that all this happened due to a big fight within the team, while some say that Chris started his own gold mining. But the real story is much more dangerous than this. It involves big money, decisions made behind closed doors, and differences that made it impossible for Chris to stay. It wasn't just a case of burnout, but a dramatic rift that pushed the calm and reliable foreman over the edge. In this video, we'll tell you the truth that's never been shown on TV. The real tension between Parker and Chris, the secrets behind the set, and the evidence that proves Chris's departure was no simple decision. So watch the video till the end and subscribe to the channel, because the truth of this Gold Rush story will change your mind. Chris Doumitt's story has always been special for Parker Schnabel's team. When Parker formed his team, he was very young and inexperienced, but he had big dreams. Parker needed people who not only worked hard, but also trusted him. During this time, Chris came into the team. Chris's entry was no less than a film scene. He did not know much about gold mining, but his hard work, honesty, and desire to learn immediately impressed Parker. Gradually, Chris proved himself in the team and won Parker's trust. In the early days, the relationship between Parker and Chris was limited to just boss and worker. But with time, this relationship changed. Parker realized that Chris was not just a working person, but a partner who would stand by him in every difficult time. When the work pressure on Parker increased, Chris always stood by him and encouraged him. This is the reason why Parker said many times in public that Chris is like the backbone of his team. Their bonding had become so strong that many times Parker would take Chris's advice before taking his big decisions. The most special thing about Chris was that he was not only hardworking, but also the most fun and positive person in the team. Even while doing a difficult and stressful job like gold mining, Chris always kept laughing and joking. When the atmosphere became very heavy, Chris used to lighten everyone's mood with his jokes and funny stories. Parker himself has said many times that the team is incomplete without Chris, because he not only helped in the work, but also increased the energy and morale of the team. Gradually, the audience also started realizing that Chris is not just a crew member, but the heart of this show. Fans watching Gold Rush connected with Chris's jokes, his truth, and his passion. His presence added a different color to the show. This is why when Chris suddenly left the show, the fans felt as if his heart had left the team. Her departure shocked not just Parker, but Gold Rush viewers around the world. With the start of the new season of Gold Rush, Parker Schnabel set a goal in front of his team that surprised everyone. Parker has always been ambitious, but this time his dream was bigger than ever. He set a target for the season that stunned everyone. It was not just a plan to extract gold from a mine, but a goal to break records and make their name in history. Parker wanted his team to achieve the most gold ever this season, and for this, they had to work harder than ever before. This big goal had a direct impact on Chris Doumitt. Parker always had deep faith in Chris, and this time too he entrusted Chris with important responsibilities. Chris had to manage many new machines and crew members, as well as live up to Parker's expectations. Parker kept pressuring Chris because he knew that Chris's role was very important to make the team successful. But this pressure gradually started proving to be too heavy for Chris. Long hours, ever-increasing stress, and never-ending responsibilities left him exhausted. As the season progressed, tensions within the team grew. Some crew members were unhappy with Parker's grandiose plans and felt that the targets were impossible to achieve. Chris was often caught in the middle of these conflicts, having to support Parker on one hand and deal with the team's anger and fatigue on the other. The situation became even more difficult when Parker ordered an even greater increase in production, which brought the tension within the team to a peak. This was the moment when Chris first thought that this might not be right. The situation had deteriorated so much that crew members were clashing with each other. It became very difficult for Chris to handle all this. As the pressure increased, so did his fatigue and frustration. And then came the moment that changed everything. As Parker himself says, "When I set an impossible target, that's when things started changing." Chris's silence and strange signs. Everything seemed normal at the beginning of the season. Chris was active in Parker's team as usual, working and appearing on camera with funny moments. But gradually, fans started noticing that Chris was not visible as much as he used to be. Earlier, he used to be present in every episode, whereas this time, he was seen only in some special scenes. His words on camera had also reduced, and he had almost disappeared in interviews. This change gradually became so clear that questions started arising among the fans. This sudden change in Chris's behavior was not limited to the camera only. He was not the same on the set as before. Earlier, where he used to joke the most and keep the atmosphere of the team light, now he mostly remained silent, and after finishing the work, went straight to his trailer or home. This strange behavior was surprising for everyone. The people of the team were also not saying anything openly on this, but it was clear from their faces that something is wrong. This silence increased the restlessness of the fans. People started posting different types of posts on social media. Hashtags like "Where is Chris?" started trending on Twitter. Long threads started being created on Reddit, where people were guessing what happened to Chris. On YouTube, fans started sharing clips of old episodes and comparing how happy and active he was earlier, and how he has changed now. The most surprising thing was that Parker did not say anything publicly on this issue. He neither gave any statement nor gave any explanation for Chris's absence. This silence was creating even more suspense. Fans believed that if everything was fine, Parker would definitely say something. But his silence deepened the mystery. Rumors and theories on social media. As Chris's distance from the camera and Parker's silence continued, rumors and theories started spreading rapidly on social media. Discussions started happening continuously on Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube. Everyone was making up their own story, and this mystery became a big topic of discussion among fans. Some fans even said that this is the biggest drama of the show, which the network is hiding. The first and most popular theory was that there was a big fight between Parker and Chris. Many fans believed that Parker put a lot of pressure on Chris, and after a big argument or fight, Chris decided to leave the show. Some Reddit posts even said that other team members were also present during this fight, but Discovery Channel never aired this footage. This theory went viral so fast that many YouTube channels started making videos on it. The second big theory was that Chris has started his own gold mining business. Fans said that while working under Parker, Chris started feeling that he could become a successful gold miner himself. So he left the show and started his own mining company. Some photos were also shared on Twitter in which Chris was seen working at a new location, although this was never confirmed. The third and most mysterious theory was that Chris has joined a secret project. A long post on Reddit claimed that Chris has been hired by a private gold mining company, which does not want to make its project public. People supporting this theory said that this is why Chris distanced himself from both the show and the public platform. He is now silent under a contract, so he cannot say anything on social media or in interviews. There was a huge debate on social media about these three theories. Some fans believed the first theory, while some thought the second one was true. At the same time, people were most excited about the third theory because it had both mystery and suspense. Many fans made analysis videos on YouTube in which they showed clues from the episodes, referred to old interviews of Parker and Chris, and guessed what the real story could be. This whole drama brought more buzz to the show, but no one still knows what the truth is. Parker's silence and Chris's disappearance from the camera made fans think that maybe this is just the beginning, and the real story is yet to come. Internal differences within the team. The Gold Rush team has always been led by Parker Schnabel, but Parker's work ethic is known to be very strict. He is very ambitious and wants everyone to work as dedicatedly as him. Initially, the team understood this, but as Parker's expectations and pressure grew, differences within the team began to emerge. Some people believed that Parker's methods were too strict and that he sometimes made decisions without listening to the team. Chris was always caught in the middle of these old differences. He was a calm person who liked to stay away from conflict. Whenever there was an argument between Parker and a crew member, Chris tried to keep the atmosphere calm. From the outside, it seemed that Chris was handling everything and balancing the atmosphere. But from the inside, he was feeling a lot of pressure. He was not only trying to meet Parker's expectations, but also managing the rest of the crew so that the team did not disintegrate. This tension was often clearly visible in crew meetings. A dramatic moment was when Parker gathered everyone and announced the new target. Anger and determination were clearly visible on Parker's face, while the rest of the team members were listening to him quietly. Some nodded in agreement, but dissatisfaction was clearly visible on the faces of some. Chris was standing there watching everything, but was unable to say anything. This scene showed that something big was brewing inside, which was probably going to explode soon. Gradually, this tension increased. There was a lack of trust between Parker and some crew members. Parker felt that people did not understand his hard work and vision, while the rest of the team members thought that Parker was ignoring their struggle. Chris was stuck between both sides. He maintained peace from outside, but inside, he was breaking down. He started feeling that this environment could not be tolerated anymore. The truth behind closed doors. Amidst these tense situations in the team, a secret meeting took place between Parker and Chris. No one saw this meeting, but the things that came out about it shook the fans. This meeting took place at night, when the rest of the team was in their trailers. Parker called Chris because he wanted to say his point directly. The biggest issue in this meeting was about money. Disagreement had increased between Parker and Chris regarding gold sharing. Parker wanted a large part of the gold in the new season to be spent on machinery, new projects, and expansion, but Chris believed that a large part of the team's hard work should be distributed directly among the crew. Chris felt that Parker was not giving the right value to the hard work of the team. When Parker explained his plan, Chris listened calmly, but disappointment was clearly visible in his eyes. He tried to explain to Parker several times that the hard work of the team should be respected, but Parker remained adamant on his decision. This debate gradually heated up. Parker's voice kept getting louder, and Chris's anger also increased. Finally, Chris said in very harsh words, "If you can't keep it clean, why make a third plan?" This line not only showed his disappointment, but also showed how wrong some of Parker's decisions seemed to Chris. The atmosphere in that room became so tense that there was silence between the two. Chris's behavior changed after that night. He started keeping distance from the camera and Parker. To those who were watching from the outside, it seemed just tiredness or normal silence, but in reality, it was the result of a deep dispute. The trust that had been built between Parker and Chris over the years had now turned into cracks, and this rift had become so deep that it was almost impossible to fill it. Nothing was officially told to the rest of the team about this meeting, but everyone understood from the atmosphere that something serious had happened. Chris's silence and Parker's silence both indicated that this was not just a simple disagreement. This was a conflict that was going to change the future of the team forever. Parker's reaction and Chris's breakdown. After that secret meeting between Chris and Parker, the atmosphere had completely changed. Parker felt that Chris was no longer the same. He was working, but there was no sparkle in his eyes, which once kept the entire team together. Parker had two options. Either he tried to convince Chris, or let everything go on as it is. Initially, Parker tried to talk to Chris many times, but Chris either gave very short answers or remained silent. His silence was even more troublesome for Parker. Gradually, Parker started ignoring him. He started keeping distance from Chris, perhaps because he was having trouble believing that their relationship had reached this stage. The rest of the team members were also feeling this strange atmosphere. Earlier, where Parker and Chris used to solve every big problem together, now there was only silence. When Parker spoke in a meeting, Chris would sit quietly. This silence was making every member of the team restless. Chris's pain became more evident behind the camera. Many times he would sit alone during breaks, and fatigue and mental stress were clearly visible on his face. Some people from the crew say that Chris would often go to his trailer without saying anything and close the door. Sometimes his eyes would be red, as if he had cried or was extremely upset due to lack of sleep. Seeing all this, the rest of the team would become uncomfortable, but no one had the courage to ask him directly what was going on. This had a deep impact on the atmosphere of the team. Where earlier there was an atmosphere full of laughter and enthusiasm, now there was a strange silence. Everyone felt that something big was going to happen, but no one knew when and how. Chris's slow breakdown and Parker's distancing from him, both together, were breaking the team from within. It was no longer just a matter of gold mining, but had become a crisis of relationships and trust. The moment of Chris leaving the show, then came the day that changed everything. It started like a normal morning, but no one had any idea that the history of the team would change by the evening. Chris arrived at the site early that day, but there was a different seriousness on his face. He quietly did his work and did not talk much to anyone. The team found it strange, but no one asked many questions. In the afternoon, Parker called a team meeting. Everyone gathered, and then Chris took a deep breath and stood in front of everyone and said that he was leaving the team. On hearing this, there was silence in the room. No one could even move. There was a mixture of surprise and anger in Parker's eyes. The rest of the team members were looking at Chris with disbelief, as if a dream had been shattered in front of them. The silence of that moment was very heavy. Parker wanted to say something, but his words seemed to get stuck in his throat. He just looked at Chris, then quietly lowered his head. This silence said everything. Pain, disappointment, and anger. Everything. The rest of the crew members had expressions of shock on their faces. Some were moved to tears, as Chris was not just a worker, he was the heart of the team. The team seemed incomplete without him. Parker's reaction was the most shocking for everyone. He usually looked strong and confident, but that day he was completely shattered. He didn't give a long speech, just softly said, "If this is your decision, then I can't stop you." As Chris picked up his things and slowly walked out of the site, the rest of the team watched him go. Slow-motion visuals can be used to make the moment even more dramatic. The dust flying in the air, the sound of Chris's footsteps, and the pain and questions on the faces of the team. When Chris looked back for the last time, his eyes were moist. He wanted to say something, but then he lowered his eyes and moved on. Parker just stood silently, as if he had nothing left to say. It was a moment that changed not just that day, but the story of the entire team forever. From that day on, Gold Rush lost not just gold, but also a huge amount of trust and relationships. And this question always remains for the fans. What happened that Chris Doumitt had to take this step? The world outside the show. After Chris left the show, not only Parker's team, but the entire Gold Rush fan base was in a tizzy. The viewers of the show thought that Chris would soon give an update on social media or express his views in an interview. But contrary to everyone's expectations, Chris went completely silent. There was complete silence on his social media accounts, be it Instagram or Facebook, where earlier he used to share funny posts and behind-the-scenes photos of the team. Now nothing new was seen there. This silence made the fans even more restless. Questions started being asked continuously on Twitter. Where is Chris? Will he come back? Why did he leave the show? Different threads were created on Reddit where people discussed this mystery for hours. Some fans even tried to find small clues by watching old episodes again and again, so that they could understand what was the real reason behind Chris's departure. Many videos started going viral on YouTube as well. Fans made long videos with their theories and made different guesses. Some said that there was a big fight between Parker and Chris, while some believed that Chris had been signed by another big project. But the most mysterious thing was that there was no official statement from Discovery Channel. Discovery Channel usually releases a press release or statement on major changes related to the show, but this time they kept complete silence. This silence surprised the fans even more. People felt that maybe something had happened that the network did not want to bring to the world. This silence became the biggest proof that something big had definitely happened behind the scenes, revealing the big truth. When this mystery became very deep and the questions of the fans were not stopping, then slowly the real story started coming out. This was not just due to burnout or a simple quarrel. The real reason was money and conflict of values. The relationship between Parker and Chris was always based on trust. But when the matter of money came to the fore, this relationship started cracking. Parker wanted a large part of the gold mine in the new season to be invested in machines and new projects. He wanted to grow his business rapidly and believed that this step was right for the team's future. But Chris had a different view. Chris believed that the team works the hardest in gold mining, so they should also get their fair share. He felt that Parker's ambition was somehow ignoring the hard work of the team. Initially, it was just a mild disagreement, but gradually, this difference deepened. Parker and Chris started arguing in meetings. Parker remained adamant on his decisions, while Chris repeatedly tried to convince him on behalf of the team. But the gap between Parker's stubbornness and Chris's honesty kept increasing. It was no longer just a matter of money, but became a conflict of values. All this became too heavy for Chris. He always looked at the team as a family, while Parker was running it like a business. Gradually, Chris realized that his ideas were not valued here. He started feeling that if he stayed with Parker, he would have to compromise his principles. Finally, Chris took a tough decision: to leave the team. This was not an easy step, because he had built this team with his blood and sweat. But he separated from it to save his values and self-respect. Impact on Parker's new season. The departure of Chris had a profound impact on Parker's team. Chris was not only the most trusted member of the team, but he was the person who kept everyone together in every difficult situation. With his departure, there was a void in the team that was not easy to fill. This season suddenly became even more challenging for Parker. Where earlier he had to worry only about gold mining and production targets, now he also had to bear the burden of managing the morale of the team. Without Chris, Parker realized that making decisions and implementing them was not as easy as before. Chris was always considered Parker's right hand. He was the person who would explain things to the other crew members, encourage them, and convey Parker's vision to the team. But now, this responsibility was left incomplete. No matter how hard Parker tried, that coordination in the team was not able to return. Responsibilities started increasing among the crew. Many times it would happen that there was no right person to handle a task, because earlier, Chris used to manage it all. The result was that the team started arguing over small tasks. Some members started feeling that Parker was putting too much burden on them. This made the atmosphere even more tense. Parker himself was also struggling. After Chris left, he felt many times that only machinery and plans for gold are not enough. These dreams are incomplete without a strong team. Fatigue and stress were clearly visible on Parker's face. For him, this season became not only a battle to get gold, but also a fight to save the team from breaking up. As the end of the season came closer, the whole story became even more exciting. Every moment shown on camera was now like a clue for the fans. A fast montage of episodes could be shown, Chris being away from the camera, the tension between Parker and the team, and the secret meeting that changed everything. Amidst these moments, only one question was echoing in the minds of the audience: what is the truth? The climax features a powerful line. Will Parker and Chris ever be on the same team again? Or is this relationship over forever? This line touches the audience's heart, because this is not just a story of two people, but a story of trust, friendship, and broken dreams. It forces fans to think that perhaps the future of Gold Rush will never be the same again. At the end, the audience is asked a direct question. What do you think was the real reason for Chris's departure? Was it just a matter of money, or is there a bigger mystery behind it? This question prompts fans to comment and share their theories. The final moments of the video show a short, emotional montage of old clips of Parker and Chris, when the two laughed, worked together, and faced big challenges. This montage reminds viewers of the strong relationship that is now broken. At the end, the host's voice echoes. If you found this story interesting, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon, so you don't miss the next big news from Gold Rush. And be sure to write your opinion in the comments. Do you think Parker and Chris will ever work together again, or is this relationship over forever? The screen slowly goes black, and only one line appears. The real story of Gold Rush is still left. This ending forces viewers to think and increases curiosity for the next video. Even after the video ends, fans are left with the story of Parker and Chris, and are inspired to come back to the channel again and again. This script not only completes a story, but also leaves a strong hook for future episodes, keeping viewers hooked for a long time.